Hey everyone! Welcome back! I am back today with more Steel Ball Run manga review, you guys. Good lord. Do I have a batch lined up for you today? You are not going to believe. Well, if you've read it, then you'll believe. But otherwise, we're not going to believe. Even if you've read it, some things may be a little fuzzy after a while. And I got to tell you, this batch had like a little bit of everything. It had like shock, twist, suspense, drama, comedy, action, bizarre, because we're never lacking in bizarre around here, you guys. Always lives up to the name, trust me. But yeah, before I get into all that, I have a couple things I want to share with you first, okay? Some of it's a haul because I haven't done a haul in a while and it's really starting to pile up. So before I get into all that, I do just want to say if you're joining me early today, you know just what that means. It means you are one of my awesome patrons. Thank you so very much. And as always, I'm sending up those big old hugs right through that screen. And if not, still, thank you for joining me today. I'm glad you're here. I do hope you'll consider supporting me that way. The link to my Patreon is going to be in that description down below. And if you're joining me on those YouTubes, I really hope you'll hit like, also subscribe for me. It does help me and my channel a whole lot. So thank you in advance for that. So yeah, guys. So I just noticed like a little baby hair in the camera. Sorry. I have a couple things I want to share with you today. First, before I forget, I have been getting these adorable, I showed you some of them when I was still reacting to the anime. I had some Stardust Crusaders, like these little mystery bag figures. They're so stinking cute. I live for these mystery bag figures. I really do. That could be a problem though, because I am getting some duplicates now. if any, I am planning on selling the duplicates if anyone is interested, because it's happening pretty frequently now. But they release them for part 5. And the way I have just been after these every single weekend at like 3 different stores. So I don't remember which ones you've seen or if you've seen any of them. I'll just show you them really quick. I have Giorno. I think you've seen Giorno. And I also got Gold Experience to go with him. I should probably hold it up a little bit because I don't know how well you can see. I got Spice Girl and Trish and Spice Girl. I didn't get them. Some of them I actually did get together. I was like, oh my god, like what are the freaking odds? And they do have stand ones too, so I managed to get Aerosmith. I have not gotten Arancha yet, but when I got just Aerosmith by itself, of course it reminded me of like that scene where we just see the fly. I can't allow myself to go there right now. I just can't. I have a review to do. And I got Coco Jumbo, who is very cute. And I got number 1. I don't think they have any of the other ones. And he's the only Sex Pistol that's in there. But yeah, I have duplicates of like, I think Spice Girl and maybe, I don't remember what the other duplicates were, but I have like 3 or 4 duplicates sitting over here that I'm hoping to sell on eBay. If anyone is interested, let me know, because I need to fund my habit of going and purchasing these adorable little figures. So all right, a couple things I want to address really quick from the comments last time. Number one, just like number 1 I just showed you. So I'm still kind of trying to strike a good balance when it comes to the amount of chapters I do and kind of like how I do the reviews. Like they're sort of like book reports, but they're not. I got some really great feedback from you guys. For the most part, you said like just take it on a case-by-case basis with the chapters. You know, sometimes we'll get a really actiony part and you'll get like 1 page or just like 1 big action scene, and it'll be like that for a little bit. And I might be able to do a few more in that case. Like the last one we did was very actiony, and I feel like I probably could have added on a couple other chapters to that. Sometimes when you get backstory ones or like something really you know, like in the one I'm gonna share with you today, they explain the balls. So, you know, definitely want to like take more time on like big explanations, big character stuff. We've got a little bit of everything today. I'm so glad I only did 5 chapters this week, because good God, we have so much to cover. All right, so a couple things I did want to say also. So that's probably how I'm gonna do it from now on. I'll just take it on a case by case. 1 week you might get 5, 1 week you might get 8, 1 week you might get 10. And we'll just kind of see how it goes. Because there are like 90 something chapters. And like, I know we're not in a rush, but like, if I could do 8 or 10, if it's feasible, if it flows, you know what I'm saying? Oh, the other thing is for the format, I think last time, and this was reflected in the comments as well, and I felt like this too even after I got done, I told a lot more, like I summarized a lot better, but I didn't give a lot more of like my opinion. So I'm going to try to balance that in this one, and like I said, I'm just kind of trying to find a balance. You guys pointed out to me 2 really cool things. One, Poco Loco. I kept saying he has a luck stand. He has a luck stand. Here's the funny thing. His stand is like a precognitive stand. It is sizing up the best outcome for him. And in that respect, it really does kind of remind me of Dragon's Dream. I know like a lot of people didn't like Dragon's Dream, and that's cool, but like maybe this is like a better done version of it. I don't know. But like it's kind of like almost statistically setting you up on your best path, but the luck is his. Like the luck is not the stand. Which I kind of thought when Anyaba told him like, hey, you're going to have all this great luck. So she was the one who was like sort of in charge of the stand stuff last time. And like we found out she had the arrow and everything. Yeah, I just kind of assumed that like, I don't know. I don't know what I assumed. And then his stand just kind of manifested. So sounds like some of my stuff has been falling over here because of the change in temperatures. I just want to make sure like nothing falls down and crashes and scares me during the reaction. But yeah, his stand like manifested so much later. I kind of assumed that she did something, like maybe not shot, like, I don't know what I was thinking. Cause then you guys in the comments are like, okay, so good call bringing that up. There actually will be something like arrows later. So look forward to that. But anyway, like, no, that's just his stand, and the luck is just his luck. It was just predicted fortune, I guess, for him. Which is actually pretty cool, because it reminds me of like Giorno can do the ear thing, and that has nothing to do with gold experience, and Bruno can do the licky sweat thing. It has nothing to do with sticky fingers. You know, some people just have like natural talent, okay? So, yeah. What was the other thing? Oh, I like really glossed over the time bonus thing when I was describing to you last time. And somebody like put a really cool succinct, if you're on Patreon, go look in the Patreon comments, because there was a really cool succinct comment that explained why the time bonus was so important. And just to sum it up, the time bonus was important because it basically shaved like an hour, I think, off of your race time. So theoretically, someone else could actually win the race. But if you had the time bonus, if you won the time bonus in that first part, and you were like an hour ahead and you came in like behind them, or even a few places behind them, you would win because you're technically an hour ahead of them. So like basically it gives you time. It gives you like free time in the race. So that was a really big deal. So I glossed over that and I figured I'd mention it. But guys, we are going to wrap up the first part of the race today and jump into the second one. And just there's so much going on. Guys, buckle up, because we're about to go for a ride. We're about to go for a ride. Like, I was mad, I was surprised, I was sad, I was like all of the above. Oh my God, I forgot there's a really big surprise in here too that I really freaked out over and scared my husband and dog over in the night when I was reading this in bed. All right, so let's get to it, guys. Chapters 11 through 15. We'll start off chapter 11, obviously. So we mentioned, I think I mentioned last time that, yeah, Diego has this like air pressure attack that he uses, and he puts it, it's like he's using it on Johnny's horse. And so Johnny gets around it. But by this point, like all the horses that are surrounded, like all the horses that went off and like followed Gyro to do this thing, they're getting real tired. And that is not a good thing. Like they have said that so many times that like, look, like if you're not careful with your horse gets tired, you're screwed. So the horses are getting tired. Sandman gets back up in there and jumps ahead of everybody. And there's this, I hope I got a screenshot of this because it's so good. The screenshot's going to be over here. there is a scene where, like, there are so many horse riders just, like, gaining on this man who is running. And, like, I don't know. Sandman's such a boss. Like, he has just impressed me nonstop. And I don't know. I just thought it was worth mentioning. So everyone's trying to, like, it's so intense. Like, there's a lot of neck and neck, and there's, like, everyone's trying to get on the side, get ahead, and it's, we've only got, like, a little while left, and it's, like, it's crazy intense. So Gyro shares this little moment with Johnny where he's like, hey, Johnny, and he's just kind of, like, describing this whole thing about, like, have you ever been on a ship? Because I have, and guess what a ship does? And he uses the balls to make, like, a sail out of his cape so that he may harness the wind. By the way, Santana was the name of the wind. I mentioned Santana last time, and I'm like, I don't know, they said his name, I don't know what had to... Santana is like what they call this wind coming up from Mexico, which I don't know, I love any mention of anything from, yeah, okay, and there will be more of that, trust me. So he uses the balls to make, like, a literal sail out of his cape, uses the wind to push ahead, and Gyro wins the first stage, and I was like, yes, this makes so much sense. He knows what he's doing, he's a boss, he's cool, this is great. I'm all about this. It's good times, right, guys? For those of you who have read it, you know that I got very upset after this chapter. Chapter 12, here we go. So they call the race, and we're stopping, we're, like, having snacks, we're, like, everything's great. And they mention, like, the announcers start to mention that, like, we've got to, like, check on something. And it's like, okay. So apparently they have, like, really, really early camera footage that they're using to, like, see the exact moment, blah, blah, blah. So at this point I was like, okay, so Pokologo really doesn't just have everything go his way. It is a form of precognition, but it's not, like, a guarantee. And even, like... and he was saying the same thing. He's like, I can't believe this. Like, I can't, because he was trying so hard to beat Gyro. And he's like, I don't get it. And even Diego gets in there, and he has the IDEO line. He's like, I can't believe that IDEO got defeated, or something like that. And I just had to laugh, because I'm like, yeah, nice little nod. Okay, so I feel like a little while back, and I don't know if I mentioned this in my notes, but a little while back, Steven Steele had said to, like, one of his aides or whatever, like, I need info on this Gyro guy. So they get info on Gyro, like, at the first part of the race celebration. And apparently he came in on a ship from Europe, which he was saying to Johnny, like, hey, have you ever been on a ship? Because I have. No kidding. Apparently he came in on a ship from Europe, and the ship was owned by, like, a royal family. And the first thing I thought was, oh my god, this is my real life, like, Jojo Disney prince, but, like, the Jojo version, and, like, oh my, he's a prince. He's a prince. He's royalty. I don't know why he's here, but this is going to be one of those, like, royalty just out here, like, not saying they're royal. Oh. And when I tell you, it was even better. Wait for the real explanation. Just wait. Do you love Gyro? Do you think you love Gyro? Because you're about to love him so much more. Like, you don't even know. You don't even know. Okay, so then, so big, you know, and, like, if you're reading this, I'm reading this, and you have any concept of previous stuff on JoJo's, like, we already probably, I just figured he was from Italy. Like all the other Zeppelis. And I don't know, maybe he is. They just keep saying Europe. They're not being, like, super specific. But yeah, I'm like, okay. Like, I wasn't like, what? So yeah, I was more surprised that Johnny was American, to be honest with you. Okay, then they drop another bomb, you guys. The announcers come back, and they're like, guess what? Gyro's getting a penalty for using a weapon during the race. And we're going to bump him down 20 spots to number 21. And then they move first place to second place, which was Sandman. At least I like Sandman, but, like, I was so PO'd about this. Like, I was like, what the actual... So... they're trying to say okay, so he was using the balls through the whole thing. It is true. And it didn't really occur to me. I'm like, oh yeah, he is. The thing is, like, Diego was using stuff too, but it was more like, it wasn't like a weapon. You know, it was like strategy or like air or like, you know, Poco Loco had a stand, but no one else could probably see it. So it wouldn't matter anyway. And like, he didn't even really know what it was. It's not like he went in there and was using a weapon. It's not like anyone else could really see it anyway, unless they're stand user. So I was just like, what the fudge are you doing to my mans right now? So here's what they got. Okay. And this is what kills me. They were trying to say that he disrupted Sandman with one of the balls. And they show a picture. I think I have a screenshot of it. They show a picture of like Sandman under like on this crumbling rock, right? And I'm like, I don't remember him doing anything to Sandman. And I was like, oh my God. Remember how last time, I think I said this last time, I was like, oh, Poco Loco's luck. It's just so crazy. And like Gyro even tries to like get a rock in front of him and it doesn't stop him. And I was like, oh crap. Was that the rock that he was trying to knock down? Was it literally like where Sandman was running and the rock crumbled and it like disrupted him? And I went back, it was in chapter 9. And sure enough, you can see that like Sandman's starting to slip a little bit, but they don't really like address it too much there. So like you just really have to remember like this whole thing with Gyro trying to like make a rock appear and for like knock rubble down in front of Poco Loco. I'm sorry. I usually don't have my phone on me. If you heard a buzz, it's my phone. I usually never ever do that during reactions or anything, but since I was using my phone to get the screenshots, it's here. Sorry. So yeah, here's the wild thing about that. He wasn't even trying to do anything to Sandman. He was trying to do something to Poco Loco. Like he was never effed. I was mad. I was really mad after this. I'm like, I get it. And there's this whole scene, and I'll get to this, where he like approaches Steven Steele, and Steven Steele's like, hey, you know, I could have just like disqualified you altogether, you know, for using a weapon. And I'm like, fair, but also like people are using air and stands and like all this stuff, and like he can't use his balls. Like, come on. I think I'm just mad because it's Gyro, and he's my mans. And yeah. All right, where was I? Okay, so Poco Loco does actually end up being ahead of Gyro, which he is very pleased about, and I'm just like, I was just mad about Gyro. I don't care, like, you know, I feel like they did him dirty. So are you ready for this? Because this is just like one in many huge things that happened. They show a list of the current rankings. And there's some familiar names on there, which we knew. And I don't know if I remembered to mention that, like, there's a Stroheim in the race. Like, at one point, they did have, like, a list of all the participants, and, like, there was a Stroheim in there. There's someone called Zenyatta Mandata on this, on the rankings for who came in what place on this particular part of the race. It's not Oingo Boingo, because that was, like, their localized name, but I don't know, for anyone who remembers, Oingo Boingo's localized name was Zenyatta Mandata. And I just love that there's like Zenyatta Mandata in here. And we know, because this is a fan translation, we know that's not a localization. So it's just like an homage, apparently, to, I guess. Here's where I lost my mind and scared my husband and dog in the middle of the night. On this list, there is a name, and I don't know how I didn't, it must have been in the list of all the participants, but I didn't notice it until now. There's a Higashikata on there. There is a Higashikata on there. It's not Josuke, it's like Norisuke. But I just flipped when I saw that, because, like, I don't know, because wouldn't you flip? I feel like we'd all flip. Yeah, I just got really excited. So yeah, so I don't know how everything, like, I know that we will have more names in the future. That's all I'm going to say. I know that we will have more names of familiar people in the future, but I have no idea how it's all going to fit. Like, obviously it's not, we couldn't possibly have everything. Like, there's no, oh, honey, do you have to bark right now? Can you bark later? No, she has to bark right now. Sorry, guys. These are just real relaxed reviews, okay? Like, this, it's not a sound stage. It's just me chilling with my dog. Only she's not chilling right now. She's freaking out. So yeah, so I don't know how or when or why we're going to get there, but like, we know that the Higashikata family is in this universe, and yes. So, and again, like, I already know there's going to be like some names that pop up in the future. But like I said, there's no, I mean, we're not following Jonathan. Like, we're already, it's the butterfly effect. Like, we're so far off of that course, there's no possible way we could possibly get everyone the way that we know them and remember them. You know what I mean? That's all I was trying to say before Buffy started freaking out. Okay, so there's a scene. Remember how I said Steven Steele is telling him, like, hey, I could have disqualified you. Gyro gets mad, and he does this awesome thing where he slams one of the balls down on, like, one of the food tables in front of Steele. And he's just like, he doesn't do anything. He's just like, I just came to say, let's all have some champagne. And he walks away, and the champagne corks start, like, bursting off like crazy. And just, like, it's a huge scene, and it's a huge, like, yeah, it's funny. So, Gyro asked Johnny to come with him to the next stage. Like, do you want to tag along in the next part of the race? And we get an explanation for how the balls work. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. I still don't fully understand this. If anyone wants to try and enlighten me in the comments, you guys are so smart. And I know there's someone out there who is like, has an honorary PhD in the balls. And that didn't come out right. But you know what I mean? And like, my window's wide open, by the way. I've stopped caring. The comments last time were so good. Like, you could call it something else, but like, just embrace the balls. Just do it. Nobody cares. My neighbors know there's no hope for me anyway, so it's fine. Okay, so he explains how they work. The best way I can think of to put it is that, like, he's explaining, like, when you grab your wrist like this, like, there's a response from the muscle. I'm getting it wrong. Just read the screenshot, because I'll put it up here. In other words, I think what happens is, like, what he's trying to say is that, like, most of the time your body is reacting, and it's using the muscle and the skin. Like, the skin is following what the muscle is doing. The skin's over it. And I think the way that this works is like, it's not working on both. Like, one of them's responding, but the other's not. Somebody come in and clarify that for me, because I'm still kind of, like, a little bit fuzzy on what exactly we're doing. I know, like, what happens, you know? So I'm fine. It's not like I'm like, I don't know what's going on. These balls appear, and I'm confused, and nothing is making sense. Like, I know I can see the practical applications. I'm just a little fuzzy on the technical explanation. But anyway, Johnny tries it with one of these corks that happened in the last scene, and he's able to, like, he gets off his horse using the power of the spinning cork. So he's learning from Gyro, and he and Gyro are going to be together for the next part. It's going to be great. When I tell you these two are a dynamic duo, you have no idea. Okay, so then we cut to, like, there's this other stuff going on, right? And the sheriff calls out Steven Steele to show him these bodies that have been found in the desert, and they're bodies of race participants. And they were found with, like, rope around them, and they're dead. Obviously, they're dead. I think we all knew that. But yeah, so he calls them out to say, like, hey, we found these people in the desert. They're from your race. They're dead. And they have, like, rope around them. And that's where we end. So, on to chapter 13. So what I was going to do is kind of, like, give my, like, okay, this is what I thought of this chapter. This is what I thought of this chapter. And because it all kind of plays out like one big long story, I think maybe I'll just wait till the end and just tell you what I thought of the whole thing at the end. Because in order for me to tell you what I really think of like the story of the dead bodies, I kind of have to tell you what's going to happen in chapter 13. So I might as well just go over like chapter 13 first. You know what I mean? Does that make any sense? Okay, so basically there's these murders of race participants, and Steven Steele's like, no one can stop this now. This race is bigger than all of us. And so the sheriff asked Mountain Tim, who you remember from like one of the very first chapters, is kind of like a cute whole horse dupe. And apparently he's like a friend of the sheriff's. And so we have a scene where like Mountain Tim like lassos these flowers for Lucy, who is the very young wife of Steven Steele. And he kind of like flirts with her, like, too bad you're married. So like I can kind of see the whole horse there, but he's way more like calm and collected so far than whole horse. Like he's not as goofy. But also puts it with the 14-year-old. Yeah. I'm like putting that aside because I'm just really, really hoping for some kind of explanation for that. So I'm just like, well, everyone, please just leave this 14-year-old alone, please. Stop. Anyway, so yeah, he's friend of the sheriff's, and apparently he rounds up all these wanted men all over the place, and like he's really good at this. He finds a bottle near one of the bodies with like a bloody jeans button in it. And he mentions it's really dangerous for the killer to be leaving that kind of evidence around. So it really, like, it makes me wonder, why would somebody do that? Like, clearly they left like a calling card next to the body. Like, who would do that? I mean, we know that serial killers will do that. Will like leave like little calling cards and stuff. But like, it makes you wonder what is going on? Who is this? There's like murders happening during the race. Like, what the fudge? So we have a whole other like plot thread going on with like Mountain Tim now, and like this whole bodies found, and yeah, we have like a murder mystery going on in addition to all the other stuff. So just in case like the horse race and the balls and the stands and the everything wasn't enough for you, we threw a murder mystery in there too. And you know what's crazy, guys? It works. It doesn't feel like, why are we doing all these things? It flippin' works. Like, Araki makes it work. Of course he does. Of course he does. All right. So, Johnny and Gyro have a funny talk about their popularity rankings that I just thought I'd mention because I just thought it was so funny and cute, where like Johnny's like, sucks to be you. And he's like talking about how he's so popular and like he's more popular, and like, and Gyro just like, they're talking about Mountain Tim and his ranking, and Gyro just goes off about Mountain Tim's hat. He's like, he hates it. He mentions it like 2 or 3 times that like his hat is stupid. He doesn't like the hat. And I'm just like, it's just one of those little things. It adds nothing, but it adds everything. It's just like the banter and the rapport that we will get between Gyro and Johnny in like the next few chapters. It's just, and I know you guys are probably out there thinking, oh my God, my girl, you have no idea. Because like, I know just from the way you guys have built it up that people love this duo, and people just like, yeah. So I'm so here for it. I'm so here for it. They're great. I love seeing them interact. They're such good friends. Like, they're probably some of the most cute friends for me since like Josuke and Okuyasu. Because they kind of like, it's not that rapport at all, but there's something about it that's just kind of like silly and fun, and I don't know. Yes, if you know what I mean, then you know what I mean. All right, so Johnny goes into this whole thing about like, we have to make sure that we know like where our water holes are, because it's super dangerous in the desert if you go off course and you can't find a water hole. And there's this gross story about like deaths out in the desert from these travelers who are like some of the first settlers, and like their eyeballs like dried up and cracked because they were dehydrated so badly. And so like basically water is really important. Okay, so the second stage starts, and Gyro just flies out on his horse ahead of everybody. And despite all the gross water stuff, we literally just were talking about Johnny with. Like, so if we don't have water, we are quite literally dead in, like, the worst way possible. He, like, changes course. Because Johnny was, like, trying to plot out, like, all these water holes. And, like, and he's just like, nah, I'm going this way. So Johnny gets mad about that. And Gyro's like, sorry, too bad. And this character called Mrs. Robinson follows them. And that's the end of chapter 13, okay? And I have to, like, I'm marching on into 14 and 15 because these were some of the, like, okay, 14 was an action one, and it was weird. And 15 is possibly maybe my favorite chapter of the bunch. And you will know why in a few minutes. Okay. There's this funny moment where Johnny is trying to make sure that they're going the right way. And they're, like, looking at the map, like, he and Gyro. And he's like, Gyro's just kind of, like, looking at it, and he's like, yeah, we're fine. I don't know. Yes, maybe. I don't know. And he's like, did you just say maybe? What? Like, and they're just, like, bickering, and Gyro clearly, like, not confident in the course that they're taking. And I don't know, it's just, like I said, the rapport is just, mwah! It's just so good. So Mrs. Robinson attacks them all of a sudden and, like, hits Johnny, no, was it Johnny's ear or Gyro's ear? I have Johnny written. I think it was Gyro's ear. Yeah, he hits Gyro's ear. Sorry, I wrote that down wrong. Apologies. And it's bad. It's like holes, bloody holes in the ear. Super gross. And they're cactus needles called, I hope I'm saying this right, chala. So Johnny gets hit, falls off his horse, and it's just, I don't think it hit his eye, but, like, he's got blood all in his eyes. It's super gross. And he's like, he tells Gyro, like, go ahead without me. Like, I'll catch up when I get this blood situation under control. And so Gyro's like, oh, I'll go, but I'm going to chase this MF. And so he does. And he throws a ball at Mrs. Robinson, and Johnny's like, are you sure you want to do that? Like, you could get disqualified, you know? And so Gyro does it anyway, but the ball gets deflected back, like, I don't know if Mrs. Robinson, like, throws the ball back, or it just, like, either way, it gets deflected back at Gyro, and it knocks him off his horse, too. And Mrs. Robinson has bugs start coming out of bugs start coming out of the eyes. We're just keeping that. We're keeping the bizarre in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure so strong right now. Like, I can't even tell you. But here's what I don't know. I think they're referring to Mrs. Robinson as he in this. I don't know. I have no idea, like, what. I'm probably just going to say they. Because, like, Mrs. Robinson could just be, like, a nickname. Like a stage name or something. But I'm not sure. So, if anyone's wondering, I'm not sure when it comes to, like, gender pronouns. But I'm probably just going to say they until, because I know I think Gyro and Johnny are saying he. I'm pretty sure. Okay. So, Mrs. Robinson tells a story about how they were, like, put to death, I think, and then, like, resurrected from the dead because of the cactus. They were cursed by a cactus and were brought back to life, and they perfected this technique. And I'm just like, what? Wow. I don't know if that's, like, supposed to be a metaphor or if it's literal. Because, like, if there's one thing we don't kind of F with in JoJo's, it's, like, bringing people back to life. Like, if somebody is brought back to life, there better be a darn good reason. It's not just a thing we do willy-nilly. Like, somebody's brother sent them back. There's vampire blood. There's, like, or it's not possible. It is simply not possible. So, like, I was just like, wow, okay, we're gonna start effing with bringing people back to life now. So, here's where Mrs. Robinson messed up. Deflecting the ball back at Gyro. He's like, you should not have been touching my balls. Because I guess people who don't know how to throw them should not be doing that. And also, now the ball is synced with Mrs. Robinson, and it takes them out in just the most grand way. So meanwhile, we cut to Mountain Tim is still following tracks because, like, there was this whole thing. He, like, knew the tracks that he had to follow and everything. And he finds Mrs. Robinson's and he's like, this is not what I'm looking for. I don't think this is a murder, but, like, I'm on the right track. So, to be continued on that. All right, guys. I need you to just, like, sit back, take a deep breath, and let chapter 15 wash over you. Because this one for me was a big one, okay? So we start off with the story of a little boy, 9-year-old boy named Marco, whose family comes from a family of servants, and he goes to work for this baron as a servant at like 9 years old. Now, I didn't check, like the first time I'm reading this, I didn't look at like the dates and everything, and I wasn't paying attention. And at first I'm like, oh my God, is this little boy supposed to be Gyro? Like, is this Gyro as a little boy? So it turns out this baron that the little boy goes to work for was plotting treason against the king of whatever European country this is. They don't really say. And the whole family, the whole royal family is found out, sentenced to execution. And they sentenced the little boy too, because they're like, he was a servant. He must have known everything that was going on, and he's in on it. And he's like, and they sentence him. I can't even say this with the window open. They sentence him to death by beheading. And like by now you have seen the screenshots. This precious tiny baby. I was so shook over this. I was very upset. And so at first I'm like, is this like Gyro's backstory and he got away and he's been like on the run and became a cowboy and like all this. So then we cut to present, right? Okay, so Johnny is working on trying to make his cork spin, and he does it! And he gets all excited, and it's just so cute. He's like, Gyro, look, I did it! And Gyro's like, huh, what? I don't know. Like, do it. If it's so easy, just do it again. I don't know. I don't care. And the cork, I don't know what happened here. All I know is that they show the cork, and they show the horse's butt, and Johnny's just like, did this cork just go in the horse's butt? And I'm like, oh my God, I think the cork went in. I think the cork went in the horse's butt. You guys. Yeah. So that's a thing that happened, you guys. And it's just this whole scene is just like they show you this horrible thing about this poor little boy, and then they're like Johnny just being a clown. And I'm like, okay. So Gyro and Johnny hear something. Johnny mentions that he brought a gun, but he doesn't know how to use it. He's never used it before. So he goes to get it because Gyro's like, do you have a weapon? Like, go get it. And when he goes to his bag, he sees Gyro's bag, and there's a paper sticking out of it mentioning the boy. Oh guys, it's not just mentioning the boy though, because it shows the boy's picture, it mentions the boy, and it says like Officer Zeppeli tries to get retrial for little boy, blah, 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 needs $50 million, which is like the exact race prize. So like one of the things that happened when Stephen Steele was trying to figure out like, why is he here? They're like, he came over on a royal ship. Like if he's royalty, what does he need with the money? So apparently he was an officer in the royal whatever. I don't know. But he was some kind of officer, like maybe like military, I don't know, police, I have no idea. It just says Officer Zeppeli. So yeah, and he sees like this like the crest and everything, which we're to assume, I guess, is the crest of the royal family. And I just want to point out, this occurred to me way, way after I was reading, but I'm like, oh my God, I have to share this with them because I know somebody out there will mention this, and I just want you to know that like we're thinking on the same wavelength. Do you remember way back when we had that cute scene where Gyro was throwing everything out of his bag and he keeps the teddy bear? He got rid of toilet paper and all this other stuff, but he kept this stuff about the little boy. And when I tell you, like, I thought I loved Gyro. I really did. I really thought I loved him. And I just had no idea. I just had no idea how much I was going to need this man. Because he's trying to save this little boy. He's so amazing. If he's trying to save a little boy, he's cool, he's cute, he's funny, he's awesome. Like, if I see him helping a dog or being kind to a dog in any way, I'm just gonna start licking the screen. I'm not gonna be able to handle it, you guys. Gyro, he's just so wonderful. He's trying to save this little boy, and that's why he's here. So Gyro catches Johnny and just does the hottest menacing pose. Like, yeah, it's guys, it's over for me. Like, I'm in over my head here with Gyro. I don't know what to tell you. Like we haven't spent that much time with him either. Like, I felt like with Joseph, I felt like it was a slow burn. Because I really, really enjoyed him in part 2, and I thought he was cute. But, like, I feel like part 3 is what really, really, like, got me for Joseph. And it took, so that's a long time, you know? I just feel like Gyro's just, like, he got in there so fast, in my heart, so fast. Anyway, so this is all interrupted by this person coming up and like freaking out, and his fingers look grotesque, and he's like, help, I got bit by this lizard, I'm freaking out, I need some of your fire, like, I need fire. And so there's this back and forth, like, we don't want you anywhere near here, don't go have, you know, there's the rescue party, they explain, like, early on, like, there's a rescue team that will, like, come and, like, you won't be in the race anymore, but, like, they'll come and get you, like, wait for them, like, we're not doing anything with you. So finally, he shows his face, and then they're like, fine, okay, have some of our fire. This person proceeds to begin, they have a belt, and they start, asphyxiating themselves. You'll see it in the screenshot. For anesthetic. I'm like, oh, okay, wow, okay, all right. And, like, of course, this person makes it weird and is like, yeah, I let girls do this all the time. And I'm like, you know what? Like, we had to go there. We had to go there. So, yes. So, I think this person dies? This person dies of, like, doing whatever it is that they're doing with their belt and their fingers and fire and all this good stuff. And Johnny finds out the person's name from the racer list as Gyro starts to notice that his boot is looking a little weird. And Johnny notices there's 2 other people with the same last name as this person who just did the fire choky thing. And that's when they pull up, the 2 other family members. So apparently, the family members mentioned, like, oh, like, you know, Gyro, he didn't touch them, but, like, yeah, he finally touched the knife that had the person's blood on it. So apparently that's what activates this person's power, or activated this, I don't know. So maybe if it's the person's stand that's doing this, maybe the person isn't dead. Because if they died, would their stand still be activated on his boot? I actually literally just thought of that in the moment. Anyway, he touched the knife, he touched the blood, something's happening to his foot. Hey guys, really super quick addition. I was going through the screenshots to put into the video. Literally, I'm editing the video now. And I wanted to let you know there was a little something that I missed, but since it's still like within the same 10 minutes that I filmed the video, I'm like, cool, let me just jump back in. So Mountain Tim, a couple chapters back, is saying all this stuff about like, yeah, the horseshoe that we're looking for has this like mountain, like print on it. Like it has this very distinctive, he's looking for a unique set of prints. And when he rolls through at the end of, one of the chapters, he's like, okay, Mrs. Robinson isn't the one I'm looking for, but I can see like the other prints have come through here that I am looking for. So I'm on the right track. Really quick, they show, like at the end of the last chapter there, they show when the family is coming through to like start to try and take out our guys. Yeah, they show the little horseshoe print. And I think it's supposed to be the one that is the same as the murderers. I think it has like the little mountain in it. Because they like zoom in on it for a second. And I'm like, oh my God. Are they trying to say that they're the ones who've been coming through and like murdering? So yeah, so that kind of adds a little bit to the whole murder mystery thing too, of like, so you'll hear me say at the end, like, oh my God, we have this murder mystery and like, we know it's one of the participants, but who could it be? It's like, I think that's what they're trying to imply. I think, if I got that right. So I just want to jump back in and say that real fast. And Gyro's like, all right, so you take this one, I'll take that one. Like, start shooting. Like, get your gun, start shooting. And just as he says it, some spikes come up through his foot. And that's where we roll the to be continued. So we're ending on a cliffhanger, which I don't know if that's good or bad. I guess it makes it more exciting. But yeah, guys, what a set of chapters. Okay, so going back, just with like the way that the first part of the race ended and everything, I was so mad. But I'm happy that like Johnny and Gyro are getting closer. I love their friendship so much. I am just loving I'm adoring their friendship. Johnny's learning he's not even learning it on a ball. That's the weird thing. So it's not, so I guess that maybe it's not like the actual ball that does it. Maybe it is kind of like Hamon where like you know, like Caesar used it on bubbles, but like you could infuse anything with it, but it's like a spinning. And so now Johnny's learning how to do that, which is pretty cool. He's learning how to do it on the cork. So that is great. We had lots of action here because we had I guess the second one's not really a fight yet. We had an attack in the last chapter, and then we had a big fight with Mrs. Robinson like earlier. So that was kind of like our first kind of non-horse related occurrence, you know, because like we had action and we had like stuff going on during the race. But we, like, this is our first, like, I guess you could say this is our first stand fight? No, I mean, like, I'm actually not even sure that Mrs. Robinson was a stand. Because that was just, like, a technique with cactus needles. So maybe not. I don't know. Just, like, an undead person and their bugs and their cacti needles. Cactus needles. Cacti? Cactus needles from cacti. Somebody clear that up for me because I'm not sure. Yeah, but I'm going to go ahead and say that was kind of our first like stand fight. I don't know. Would you guys agree? We had the spinning, the balls. We had those explained. Again, I'm still a little fuzzy, but like I get what it does, basically. So I'm sure the rest of it will kind of like be clarified over time. Yeah, the whole thing with Gyro made me so mad. I freaked out over the name. I was like, oh, the name. You already heard me talk all about the name, Higashikata just showing up and... All right. We have this whole thing with the murders going on, which I think is kind of interesting because like we literally, like with a race... with what we know now are going to be like stand users. Like so far Poco Loco, I'm not even sure about Mrs. Robinson. And I'm guessing that whatever the new people are doing is a stand. But like, we're still being a little like shy with the stands. Like there are other, like I'm legit curious, like is Mrs. Robinson, like was that a stand or was it something else? And the balls are not a stand. And you know, like we do have like a lot of other sort of like that, which we've always had in JoJo's. Cause like, look at all the stuff in the Rohan OVAs. Like there was a lot of that had nothing to do with the sand. So it's kind of cool to see like, yes, we have stands, but we have all this other like power mixed in with it. It's just like one big bizarre world, basically. Like we're not just sticking to any one, power at a time. I think that's what throws me off is like, I'm used to it being at a time. Like we had Hamon and now then we had Sans, and like in the Rohan OVAs, like exclusively except for Rohan using Heaven's Door, like there was no Stan stuff. Like it was all other stuff. But like now we're just sort of combining it all, which is kind of interesting. So yeah. What was I? Yeah, I was saying that's kind of our first stand fight, blah, blah, blah. We have this whole murder mystery thing. And yeah, what I was going to say is like, is if we didn't have enough going on with like multiple power systems and stands and everything in a race, which is already like a really fantastic setup for a story, we threw the murder mystery up in there. So why the heck not? I'm sure it's going to tie in too. Like you guys, obviously, because like they think it's somebody in the race. So like, you know, it's going to tie in to the race. Like obviously it's, yeah. But I'm just like, that's bold to like just go up in there and be like, you know what? You know what we could really use right now? A murder mystery. Didn't feel spicy enough for me. I think I'll throw some murder in there. All right, so chapter 15 just blew my mind. Because like up to that point, I'm like, oh my God, Gyro is like royalty. He's like some kind of prince. And it was so much better than that. It was so much better than that, you guys. Because, like, he comes in to this story saying, like, look, I'm not a good guy. Sign me up for this race. And you know what? He's lived up to that. Because he's not, like, Mr. Help Everybody Out. He's not, like, he doesn't come off as a bleeding heart at all. Like, when he has to be a little shifty, he'll get a little shifty. When he's, you know, but to think that he's doing all of this so that he can save this little boy's life, I'm just like, I need you. I love you and I need you. So yeah, and it goes a lot. It goes to prove a lot about his character too. Like in addition to all the simpability, like yeah, it really says a lot about him as character. And we still don't know the whole story. Like Johnny's like, hey, like, what is his relation to this kid? Like, what is... And I don't think he's actually, like, related to him because we saw the... Unless he's, like, a distant relation. Because, like, we saw the family, like, kissing him goodbye and being like, go be a servant at 9 years old now. Because, yeah, that's a thing that I guess used to happen. Yeah. But we're getting more backstory now, which I'm really, really happy about. I think we're about to go into our next stand fight, which I'm really, really excited about if it is indeed a stand. And we've got so much going on, you guys. We've got a ton going on. I just already feel like for like 15 chapters, which would essentially be the equivalent of, I don't know, maybe, I'm going to say less than 10 episodes. Because I feel like in Stardust Crusaders, they were doing like, I never read through the whole thing, but I started reading it. And I feel like it was maybe like 2-3 chapters to an episode. Does that sound right to you or no? Does that not sound right to you? I feel like it's maybe about like 3 chapters to an episode. So let's just say we're maybe 5 to 10 episodes in, if this was an anime. And like, I'm already like, this is just wow. So yeah, we had weirdness, we had drama, we had comedy. Again, I live for the, I just think that Araki is doing so well with like writing the characters, you know what I mean? Like, yes, he's always going to get in there with like his super complex like power systems, and like he is not holding back with the power systems this time. He's not holding back. But he's also like really, really giving us like character stuff. You know what I mean, guys? Like, it's the culmination of everything he's done over 6 parts. Just put on a platter. And you guys tried to tell me that. And I'm like, I just can't picture it getting better, you know? Like, I just can't picture it. And here I am. And it's somehow gotten better. And I'm really, really happy with it, you guys. I had a blast with these chapters. I hope you enjoyed hearing me talk about them. I don't know if there's anything I left out or just didn't. I feel like I pretty much told you every single feeling that I had on every part of this story. But if there's anything I forgot to mention that was really important in the story, or anything you want to know specifically, just obviously pop in a comment there and we'll go from there. But yeah, I think what I'm going to do is, before I put on the schedule, oh, I'm going to be doing this amount of chapters, maybe I'll read the chapters first. And if I see wow, this 5 chapters was dense, I'm just going to stop here. This would be good for a review because I'm already going on an hour here. This one's definitely the longest one yet. Maybe I'll do that instead of because I feel like one of the things we agreed on was okay, maybe just take it on a case by case. And the only way for me to know how much of the story is going to be super dense is for me to read it first. So maybe I'll try to read it before I put it on the schedule this week, so I could tell you okay, 5 chapters was good for this week. That's all we're going to do. Or hey, this one went kind of fast. I'm just going to do 8 chapters this time, or 10 or whatever. But yeah, guys, it was a ton of fun. I love these chapters. Hope you enjoyed hearing about them. Please be sure to join me for the next Steel Ball Run review. And have we decided what to say at the end here? Read it? Hear about it? Review it. We will review it together. Bye for now, guys.